Hey everyone, welcome back to Reading with Tatiana. I started my booktube at the beginning of this year in 2022, and I thought about 5 months later that it is time for my booktuber newbie tag. So I hope you enjoy my answers to these questions. The first question is, why do you start this channel? So I started this channel because back in 2021, as a reaction to the pandemic that was still prevailing in our lives, I decided to pick some hobbies that were more things that I could do at home, and one of them was reading. I'll have to admit that to be honest, stopped reading in my 20s as soon as school was done, and I didn't really read for fun at all, except for some books that were really popular throughout my 20s. So in 2021, when I was 32, I started reading again, and fortunately at my local library it was still open during the pandemic, so I just read and read and read, and in 2021 I finished about, I think it was 74 books. So I really enjoy reading, and I found a Goodreads community, and I love posting about what I read on that. And then I came across the booktube community, and I really enjoy watching people's reviews and reactions to books. So I thought I would do a channel to do my book reviews after I read books. And also it's kind of like homework for me. Like, it's kind of nice to read a book and kind of talk about it to really remember the book further. The next question is, what are some fun and unique things you can bring to BookTube? I think for me, and I've gotten a lot of feedback from my viewers and friends that I've made on BookTube, is that I have a very structured format. So with all my reviews, I always go with the genre and year. I talk a bit about the author, which I find a lot of booktubers don't really talk about, which I think is always fun to get a context of how the author wrote the book. I talk about the story and plot of the book. I talk about the characters. I talk about themes or lessons that I got from the book. And then I also talk about how a book made me feel. Because if you watch my reviews, I always like to ask people how a book made them feel. Because after a week, a month, a year, 5 years, you might not remember the exact details of a book, but you'll always remember how a book made you feel. So I think that's some unique things that I would bring into BookTube, just to think about a book and how it affected you differently. The third question is, what are you most excited about for this new channel? And for me, as I said, I've been doing this channel now for 5 months, and I do an upload every time I finish a book, as well as a monthly wrap up. And I just really enjoyed the community so far. It's been very supportive. I've been getting a lot of books to add to my to-be reads, so that's been really great. And it's really pushed me to read out my usual preferred genres, which has been really great as well. Number 4, why do I love reading? So I love reading because last year when I started reading so much, it was just a great way to get a new perspective. Before the pandemic, I traveled quite a bit for fun. And when you aren't able to travel, it's so great to read stories in other countries, and you get a perspective you don't even get when you're traveling, because you read different perspectives of a local in that country. I find it's also a good way to escape from normal life. And for me, as someone that's always go before a pandemic, reading has been really great because it's really coerced me to slow down, to enjoy my time, and just be comfortable with being alone, because for a long time I was very uncomfortable being alone. Number 5 is, what book or series got me into reading? I would have to say, and I could be saying it wrong, but if I do find it, I'll put it up here. And if you've read it as well. So I am a 90s baby. So the series that got me into reading, if I remember correctly, is called the Pee-wee Scouts. And they had like 30-40 books at my local library, and I would read them all the time when I was in grade school. Other series I liked as a kid that got me into reading, and I don't remember what it was called, but I remember it was like a brother and sister, and it had a tree house. And then like every night they would go to a tree house and they would get transported to a different world. And it was kind of like historical, Renaissance-y. I'm going to Google it, and I'm going to put the book covers here, because I remember I loved that series as a kid, because every time I read one of their novels, it was like I was transported to a different part of the world, but also like a different time period, which was like really cool. So it's the Pee-wee Scouts, and also the second series, which I'll pop up here if I'm able to figure it out on Google. Number 6 is, what questions would you ask your favorite booktubers? So if you're watching this video, thank you very much. And I guess my question for you is, why did you start your booktube? And what are some unexpected things you've discovered from having a booktube? Number 7 is, what challenges do you think starting a booktube channel will be the hardest to overcome? I think for me so far the past 5 months is just finding a time to film my reviews. It's pretty easy to finish a book, but it takes time to sit down and write my review of the book, and also taking time to film it as well. So that's probably the hardest time. I'm not a booktuber that's going to have a schedule, like I need to upload once or twice every week. I'm personally just going to upload when I finish a book. So I feel like that is probably a common challenge for a regular booktuber, but for me, I'm doing this booktube for myself, so I don't foresee that challenge. Number 8 is when did I start reading, and to be honest, I think as soon as I was able to read, I did. I definitely remember as a kid that my parents didn't have too much money at first, so every weekend my mom would bring me to a library and I would take out as many books as the library would let us, which was, I believe, 30 books at the time. Number 10 is what kind of books do I like to read? I'm open to reading all books, and this is why I love the booktube community, because I get so many recommendations from you guys for different books that wouldn't come across my radar. But my favorite genre preferably is I love memoirs, because it's just a bit of history, a bit of fact, and a bit of someone's personal story. So any memoir, no matter the topic, I am down to read it, and I always appreciate someone writing and sharing their life story. The last question is number 11, what does your book collection look like? And to be honest, I don't have a book collection because I am an avid believer and supporter of public libraries, and I'm very fortunate to have lived close to 2 big libraries in both cities I lived in. So I think if you're able to go to a library and use that service, please do. My current city, there actually is a limit of taking out up to 99 books, and there's no late fees, which I guess I mean I could have a collection of books, but I do not. I would like to return books as soon as I'm done them so the next person can enjoy it. All right, thank you for watching my entire BookTube newbie tag. I appreciate these questions, and I feel very welcome to the community so far. If you like what you see, I always appreciate if you can hit the subscribe button, if you can give this video a thumbs up, and leave your comment down below if you're a booktuber as well or have any more questions for me. All right, bye guys.